So in this area here you can see the drain pan worked well, stopped the erosion. A little bit of gravel spilled over down into the lower section, but overall maintained nicely. Just cut a little bit deeper into the soil, but maintaining away from the edge of the timber as we intended. This drain's working well. This area right here in front of the timber, we need to put some of the smaller stuff, some of the stuff like this size, maybe even a little bit smaller. This timber here is where we're going to butt the next timber up against, right here. This will continue forward through the next section. Looking up into the area where the next timber is going to go, at the 12-foot mark, which is up around here. This is going to need to be recessed down in, laying horizontal, like the timber that's laying on the side. But it's going to need to be deep enough down in that this top end of the timber is slightly below the surface, so that when we do our trench for the drain, which is going to need to be right kind of on the edge of the moss line, the moss line is going to need to be cut back just a little bit so that we can maintain a straight drain. So this end will sit on the timber. That end up there will mimic this same thing, sitting on top of the timber. But as I said, it's going to need to be a little bit deeper, at about the level that this is eroded down into. So that we can have a slight depression cut for the ditch, and then also be able to line our edge with stones like that section, so that we can continue this up. Then the next box, if it's worked on, will continue just the same thing. The finest gravel that I brought, the smaller stuff, will start being put on at about this point, and it's about the halfway point on this timber, and at that point it'll need to be ramped up to the board and carried across, so that there's a slight inslope towards the road at that point, but then it should level out so that the path pretty much becomes level, and then the gravel will be filled to the top of the timbers, continuing up. But that's something that we can do once I'm back with you the week after next. But the drainage worked great. Just need to continue that along, and whatever's done, just try to mimic what we did there. You don't need to haul any of the finer gravel if you don't have time. It's not a problem. We can put that on later on. Just getting the structures built and getting the drain established is good for this point. Once we get a couple of sections done, we can get the gravel built up. We just don't want to risk having the drainage not complete and having the gravel that we put on the path get impacted by a heavy storm and get eroded down into the ditch. Then we just have to move it again. Anyway, thanks a lot.